Good evening and welcome to the Gilchrist Ball. I'm Deborah Weiner and it is an honor to be joining you tonight. I hope that you and yours are well. 2020 has certainly brought unprecedented change to all of our lives, but one thing that hasn't changed is just how vital the work of Gilchrist is to our community. In fact, its work is even more important now than ever before. Gilchrist provides counseling, support, and care to anyone with a serious illness so that they may live their life to the fullest. This vital work sends Gilchrist's clinical teams to people's homes, residential care facilities, and Gilchrist's 3 inpatient centers. This year, Gilchrist has cared for more patients and families than it has in its history, and with every patient, every time, Gilchrist helps families cherish every moment of life. That's what tonight is all about. Yes, we're not in a ballroom and we're not able to physically be with one another, but tonight we're still together to make special memories and to raise money to ensure that every patient, regardless of their ability to pay, can receive serious illness and end-of-life care at one of Gilchrist's 3 inpatient centers in Towson, Howard County, and downtown Baltimore. Tonight you'll learn a bit more about each of the centers and hear firsthand from families who have been touched by Gilchrist's care. We'll also be joined by members of the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra and the Baltimore School for the Arts. And we'll celebrate, we'll honor, and we will raise a glass as we come together to support Gilchrist. Now please help me welcome this year's Gilchrist Ball Chairs, Mitchell and Nell Getz.
Good evening to everyone. Mitchell and I are honored to be the chairs of this year's virtual Gilchrist Ball. We're disappointed we cannot be together with our honorary co-chairs Barbara and Ed Brody to welcome you all in person, but we promise you an entertaining and informative evening ahead.
Our desire to get involved to give back to Gilchrist came after being touched by 2 life events. One, my grandmother's end-of-life care in her home by Gilchrist, and secondly, after the passing of Charlie Neve, a close friend of our son Cooper when he was in the 6th grade. Gilchrist offered support to the Odyssey School following Charlie's passing at such a young age. These 2 events personally exposed us to the scope of Gilchrist services, so when I was asked to serve on the board, I accepted. Today, after 7 years of board participation, it has become clear that the services Gilchrist provide in advance of serious illness, through the end of life, and to those confronted with their loss is so important to our community. The funds raised during the Gilchrist Ball tonight are critical to the continued operation of those services. So when confronted by the restrictions of COVID and the possibility we would not be able to gather together, the Gilchrist Ball Committee decided the need was important enough and our community would support tonight's virtual ball. Just because we are struggling through a global pandemic does not mean the services of Gilchrist stop. Actually, the funds raised tonight are more critical than ever to offset the enormous burden COVID has placed on the organization. Nell and I and the Ball Committee were committed to throw a party to support Gilchrist. So here we are, virtually.
Tonight as you watch, there are many ways to contribute to Gilchrist's ongoing efforts. You can make a contribution directly on the event webpage, and we also have a fabulously fun raffle planned. Prizes include exclusive wine dinners, flower deliveries, landscaping packages, and a special Getz's Sweets and Treats delivery to you or your friend for 6 months. Tickets are $100 and can be purchased right here on the webpage as well.
I think we should make a toast.
We need a cocktail.
Hello and welcome to The Bygone. My name's Andrew Nichols. I'm the head of mixology for Atlas Restaurant Group in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm here to show you how to make a cocktail. Today we're going to be making a drink called the White Rabbit, which was originally served at our speakeasy, the Elk Room. It's a variation on a White Russian, and we're just going to take some of the ingredients and make them a little bit more complex. So of course vodka is going to be the base spirit. Our preference here is Wheatley. Going to do 1.5 ounces, but I'm going to make 2 drinks, so we're going to do 3 ounces. Next, I'm going to use some pimento dram, also known as allspice dram. This is a traditional Jamaican ingredient. It's going to add a nice spice component to the drink. We're going to do 1/4 ounce, and so 1/2 ounce for 2 drinks. In addition to that, we're going to use a little bit of Oloroso sherry. This is going to add a tiny bit of acidity and some nuttiness to the cocktail. We'll do 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce for 2. Next, I prepared a bay leaf tincture. This is simply bay leaves steeped in a neutral spirit like vodka for about 7 days and then strained. We're going to do 2 dashes per drink. And then the final ingredient is where we get a little bit nerdy. This is called butter syrup. A White Russian would normally have cream or some other sort of dairy product. And in order to make that a little bit more interesting, we've taken some simple syrup and combined it with butter. This is a little bit difficult to do because water and oil typically don't mix. But with the help of xanthan gum and gum arabic, we're able to combine the two. We're gonna do a 1/2 ounce per drink, so 1 ounce for 2. Once you have all your ingredients, you can add some ice and stir. Gonna strain it into 2 rocks glasses, but whatever glasses you have available will do fine. Once the cocktail is strained, add some ice. And the final touch is gonna be just a tiny bit of grated nutmeg that's gonna add to the spice component that the allspice brings. Some of you at home might be seeing one of these. This is the white rabbit that I prepared for you ahead of time. All you need to do to serve it is give it a quick little shake to make sure the butter is fully incorporated, and then pour over ice and garnish with the nutmeg. Mitchell and Nell, these are for you.
Thanks, Andrew.
To good health.
Great memories. And to Gilchrist.
Gilchrist's story began over 26 years ago with the vision of founding benefactor Ginny Gilchrist Vance. The result is nothing short of amazing. A hospice built on a foundation of care for all in need of comfort and dignity at the end of life.
I came to GBMC in 1990 to be head of a new cancer program. Ginny spent her winters in Florida volunteering at the Palm Beach Hospice, which had a terrific inpatient facility and a wonderfully extensive outpatient program as well. And she called our CEO one day and said, hey, I'll give you $1 million if you start a hospice program. And our idea was that an inpatient hospice building should suit the needs of the patients who were dying of their disease. And so we built a hospice where every room had access to an outdoor garden so that they could continue to enjoy the natural environment. And that building won awards because at the time it was unique to have an actual building that was designed for patients in hospice rather than some adaptation of another facility. We recognized that what we were doing was giving patients the dignity of dying the way they wanted, and with their family around and in a comfortable setting where the family could have less anxiety because there was somebody there that was knowledgeable to take care of them, to serve their needs, to help with the symptoms that they had. What that required was not just providing an outpatient program and a facility where they could go when they were near the end, but we also needed to educate our community about the value of hospice. It wasn't until recently that I had personal experience with it. My mother was 94 years old when she began to rapidly deteriorate. She ended up going to Gilchrist and dying there January 2nd of 2017. But just a few short months later, my wife got a little dizziness, and that was the start of a very rare neurologic condition which took her life literally 6 months later. And so in October of that same year, 2017, my wife was there for her end-of-life care as well. My wife, Charlene, was an amazing woman. One of the things that she really enjoyed was her artwork. And she started out doing huge canvases of Disney characters. She'd make these huge murals and give them out to places. One of her first murals that she did was in the Towson Gilchrist, where she put the Pooh characters on the wall in a little area that's dedicated for kids to play when they're there visiting family. When you see some of her later work before she died, it was just amazing stuff. I got to experience not just the inpatient hospice, but also the home care program. And everyone who came by was just so incredibly compassionate and interested in her welfare and helpful. And it was just absolutely amazing. Gilchrist Hospice is just terrific. I mean, it's an amazing program. I was the spark, and I'm proud to be the spark, and I've always said that this is the best thing I ever did in my career, but it has certainly blossomed and improved and satisfied my wildest dreams, in large part because of everybody else that's worked in the organization, the people who have given of their time and their resources, and those who have worked for us, dedicated to this very tough group of patients to take care of, but very satisfying.
Hi, Hi, I'm Marin Alsop, music director of the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, and I'm really thrilled to be here with you tonight to celebrate Gilchrist and all of the wonderful achievements this organization has brought to Baltimore. For me, it's a very personal story. When my father was declining health, I moved him down to Baltimore, and in his final days, I wanted to find a place where he could feel valued and he could feel safe and he could feel um, really taken care of in a very special way. And several people recommended Gilchrist to me. I wasn't familiar with the organization and the institution whatsoever. And when I went over to see it, I immediately was struck by the peaceful nature, the friendliness of everyone working there. Um, Everyone seemed so genuine, and they were there for the right reason. And so I immediately moved my father there for his final days, and I spent a lot of time there as well. So I got to know the staff and incredible people, the medical staff as well. Um, and I have to say that, losing someone that you love so much is such a difficult moment in one's life. But being at Gilchrist made it manageable for me. And of course, all of their follow up care and concern made such a difference in my life too. And I'm proud to be a consistent donor to Gilchrist. I think it's a service that is so needed and so essential and so wonderful, especially in times when we've lost touch with each other, in these difficult times when we're separated and isolated. So I can't say enough about Gilchrist. Really helped me through a very, very difficult time. And speaking of difficult times, I look forward to welcoming you all to the Baltimore Symphony when we're back in action, playing live. During these COVID months, we've actually started a brand new series called BSO Sessions. I'm in Baltimore recording some of those digital concerts, and I hope you'll tune into them. My concerts will be released around the holiday time, so keep your eyes peeled. Music is so important, art is so important, and especially in difficult times, I think it connects us to what is great about humanity. And I feel very much so in this moment that we need to stay in touch with that. And through the Baltimore Symphony, we've really tried to build a community of people. We've reached out and tried to open the doors wide to the symphony. Hopefully, after COVID, this is an opportunity for all of us to open our doors wider, and really embrace each other as we're longing to do. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight. And I hope that you enjoy this reimagined celebration. And let's look forward to a future filled with music, filled with love, filled with joy. Thank you.
Music truly soothes the soul, and I can't wait to be back at the Meyerhoff to hear the glorious Baltimore Symphony Orchestra live and in person. At Gilchrist, music therapy provided by certified music therapists addresses the emotional and cognitive needs of patients while in hospice care. Many services provided by Gilchrist, like music therapy, aren't reimbursed by insurance, yet they're offered at no cost to the patient and family. These programs are made possible through charitable contributions. Please show your support tonight by making a generous tax-deductible donation to Gilchrist to ensure that these services remain available to all. You can also purchase raffle tickets throughout the evening and until December 8th for the chance to win some really great prizes like exclusive wine dinners for 4 at Atlas Group restaurants, the Bygone and Monarch in Harbor East, 6 months of beautiful floral deliveries by Simply Beautiful Flowers, spring perennial planting by Bob Jackson Landscapes, and so much more. All monies raised from the raffle benefit Gilchrist. Now let's learn more about Gilchrist Center, Howard County, while I buy some raffle tickets.
Since 1997, Gilchrist has helped thousands across Howard County by providing expert care, pain management, and emotional support to those suffering from a terminal illness. Initially providing care in the homes of residents, Gilchrist Center, Howard County, opened its doors in 2011. This facility continues to serve as the only inpatient hospice center in the county. There, a team of dedicated clinicians and faithful volunteers continues to deliver specialized end-of-life services to patients while providing loved ones with cherished memories as they say their final goodbyes.
My dad, his name is Paige Adolphus C. Jr., and my aunt is Mary Mae Schooling. My aunt and my dad grew up in Laurel, Maryland, in the historic area on 10th Street. I still live in Laurel, not far from there, and that's home. That's always been home. So Howard County has always been home for us. My father and my aunt were actually in the same nursing home at the same time. My dad had been there for a couple of years, and when my aunt had gone downhill, I spoke with my cousin, and they had her moved into the building as well, and we actually had their rooms side by side so that my dad could wheel himself over to her room and have dinner with her and visit with her, which was wonderful that they were able to spend that time together in their last years. My dad has suffered with Parkinson's, I would say 26 years probably, and his condition had just gotten to that point where he needed a level of care that even the nursing home couldn't give him. I just felt in my heart that the best place for him was Gilchrist. A few months before my father passed, his sister was actually here in Gilchrist's care as well, and she passed away from Parkinson's disease as well.
For some, the word hospice brings feelings of sadness and fear. But at Gilchrist, compassion, comfort, and consolation are at the very core of its mission.
The memories that mean so much to me is just the amazing care that he received. And it wasn't just somebody coming in working like clockwork, like a robot. It wasn't like that. It was people that actually care about the family and the patient as a whole. The support system here, the social workers, the bereavement groups that they had, it's all just interconnected in a way that it's very soulful. You could feel the love and compassion, the drive to give that patient dignity in their last days, and that meant the world to me.
Charitable contributions sustain the center's ongoing efforts and ensure that no patient is ever turned away, regardless of their ability to pay.
Today we were able to come up for the installation of the plaques for my aunt and my father, and I had my sister, my 2 cousins, and my puppy with me, and it just was beautiful to be able to be here for that. I plan on coming up and putting flowers near the plaques, just to have a place to be able to remember them both together. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you to Gilchrist for what they did for my family. To have those plaques side by side, it just means so much to our family. Gilchrist means respect, compassion, dignity, because those are things that they gave my dad, things that he deserved.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Hamill, and I have the honor of serving as the president of Gilchrist. I hope you're enjoying the ball so far. I know I certainly am. One of the many services that makes Gilchrist unique are our inpatient units. And we're here tonight to celebrate the work of those units. Our founding benefactor, Ginny Gilchrist Vance, who you know gave the first donation to make our organization possible, also insisted that early on in our journey that we have an inpatient unit. These units play a unique and special and critical medical need for dying hospice patients. First, they serve as a location where people who have significant symptoms and uncomfortable symptoms can come and be cared for by our amazing clinical teams who will help them become comfortable and die that way. We also have the only residential unit in the state of Maryland. What's unique about a residential unit is that the care that we provide there is for people who don't have a residence. They would otherwise die on the streets of Baltimore. Third, we operate the only 4 beds for dying children in the state of Maryland. Unfortunately, the dollars that we receive from the federal government for the care that we provide does not cover the costs of those services. In our residential unit alone, we subsidize more than $1.3 million because the room and board is not compensated by the federal government. Tonight is about celebrating that work, and it's about celebrating you, who have consistently over the years given the dollars we need to safely and effectively operate these units, and we are grateful. I want to especially thank our chairs tonight, the Getzes, and our honorary co-chairs, the Brodies. I want to thank our sponsors who have already stepped up this year to make a financial contribution for these important inpatient centers. And I hope that as you spend the balance of your time here at the ball, that you will also consider making a donation for us. We are thrilled to have you here with us tonight. We wish you a wonderful holiday season. Please stay safe and be well.
Since we've no place to go, let us know, let us know, let us know. Oh, it doesn't show signs of stopping. And I brought some corn for Poppy. The lights are turned way down low. Let us know, let us know, let us know. We're still goodbying, but long as you love me so, let us know, 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 let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
niño de Cristo. Gracias por la ayuda. Feliz fiesta.
Please consider making a generous contribution to Gilchrist tonight. Donations not only support the centers, but the programs within, like Gilchrist Kids, which cares for children who are diagnosed with life-limiting illness. The Gilchrist Kids team helps children live well while ensuring their families prepare for the moment that no parent should ever have to face. In fact, Gilchrist Center Baltimore, Gilchrist Third Center, is home to the only pediatric inpatient hospice unit in the state of Maryland. Let's learn more about the center's rich history and its very exciting future.
Gilchrist Center Baltimore has become synonymous with compassionate hospice care for the city's most seriously ill. But this vital community resource was once just a vision, existing only in the minds of the All Saints Sisters of the Poor and leaders of the Mount Calvary Church in Baltimore. These missionaries felt a calling to offer the dying love, comfort, relief, and spiritual support. The Sisters of Mount Calvary Church answered this call by founding the Joseph Ritchie House in 1987. This small nonprofit hospice was established in 2 renovated 19th century row homes on Utah Street. It was named for Father Joseph Ritchie, who in 1872 invited the sisters from England to establish their religious community in Baltimore. Joseph Ritchie was the 7th rector of the church and was known for his ministry to the African American community. The Joseph Ritchie House became the first hospice in Baltimore and the first residential hospice in Maryland. A small, dedicated group of volunteer physicians provided safe, compassionate care to the underserved and homeless. The hospice couldn't have come at a better time. During the early AIDS epidemic, many were dying from the disease and in desperate need of care. The Joseph Ritchie House cared for them just as it cared for anyone in need, regardless of their ability to pay. This became an overriding philosophy of the organization and remains in effect today. Through the generosity of community support, no one is ever turned away. Initially serving only adults, the hospice expanded in 2011 to begin caring for terminally ill children. For the first time, children would have access to desperately needed hospice and respite care. Known as Dr. Bob's Place, the 10-bed children's unit was named for Dr. Robert Irwin, a pediatrician who was the first volunteer medical director of the Joseph Ritchie House. Dr. Bob's Place was the first of its kind in the country. Unfortunately, financial struggles took hold over the next few years. For a while, these problems proved insurmountable, but the organization soon found an opportunity that would save them. In 2014, the Joseph Ritchie House joined forces with Gilchrist. The merger allowed the mission of Joseph Ritchie House to continue, and the organization was soon renamed Gilchrist Center Baltimore. Today, the center continues to provide hospice care to children and adults in a safe, home-like setting. A new chapter for Gilchrist Center Baltimore will soon be written. Gilchrist will break ground at the former site of Memorial Stadium on East 33rd Street, continuing the legacy of the Joseph Ritchie House and Gilchrist Center Baltimore. When the Gilchrist Board of Directors determined that building a new facility was needed to maintain fiscal responsibility, an ideal location emerged. Where better than Stadium Place? A national exemplar community redevelopment of 30 acres, Stadium Place provides housing and long-term care to over 500 low to middle-income Baltimore City seniors. The addition of a hospice center in the community will create a true continuum of care in one central location. When the $15.3 million capital campaign is completed, 30,000 square feet with 22 private rooms will offer adults, children, and their families a place of peace and serenity while saying goodbye. The legacy of care on Utah Street will continue through the work of Mosaic, who provide community behavioral health services in the vacated buildings. And on East 33rd Street, new memories will be made and cherished in Gilchrist Center Baltimore's compassionate embrace.
All right, Mitchell and Nell, the ball is almost over. Do you want to say a few last words?
Deborah, thank you so much for being our MC tonight. Your presence was a true highlight for us. Mitchell and I thank all of you for being with us tonight. Thank you to the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra and the Baltimore School for the Arts, and a special thank you to tonight's wonderful sponsors. Your generosity has been overwhelming, and we are very grateful.
And Nell and I want to thank the Gilchrist Ball Committee, whose partnership was invaluable to making tonight a true success.
And lastly, a very special toast to Barbara and Ed Brody, our honorary co-chairs. They are celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary this very night. Congratulations, best wishes, and much health and happiness to you both.
Cheers.
Oh, thank you, Mitchell and Nell, for the good wishes. And we're delighted to be here being honored by Gilchrist. We're very privileged, we feel, to be able to be involved with Gilchrist because of the wonderful service it gives to people. A very important service that no one duplicates here. So thank you very much again, and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
On behalf of everyone at Gilchrist, the doctors and nurses, social workers, chaplains, aides, and volunteers, and of course the thousands of patients and family members who are benefited by your support tonight, thank you and happy holidays. May each of you be blessed with good health in the coming year, and may we all be together in person in the not too distant future. Good night.
When it snows, ain't it thrilling? Though your nose gets a chilling, we'll frolic and play the Eskimo way, walking in a winter wonderland.